I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
So imagine that you've just had a great walk on the beach and you're feeling really wonderful and things are great. And then you get back to your house and you find that someone has left a truckload of dung on your driveway in the front of your house. And you go, oh my God, I didn't order this from Amazon. I don't want this. I don't need this. This stinks. What is it doing here? Or it doesn't have to be that bad. Maybe it's just a little bit of dung. But still, it's enough to mess with you, right? Well, the metaphor of the truckload of dung in front of the house stands for the challenging experiences that sometimes seem to be dumped in front of us. Ever have any of those? And if we come home and we have a truckload of dung or something else happening in our lives, we're like, oh no, I don't want this. I don't need this. All I want is somebody to take it away. Right? What am I going to do with all this dung? And believe me, that's a lot of dung. Woo, burn it. There's a couple things we could do with that dung, right? We can put it in our pockets. We can put it in our backpacks or our purses, or if we're real brave, we can even stick it down our pants. But we would probably find that after a while, a lot of our friends aren't going to be hanging around. And people will be avoiding us like the plague or like the dung, right? This man, Nathan Ogden, knew that life was great. He had it all going for him. He had an amazing marriage. He had 2 beautiful children. He was 26 years old. He had a great career. And in 2001, he went skiing. And he did a ski jump. And as a result of that ski jump, he fell and broke his neck. And he was instantly a quadriplegic. He couldn't walk, speak, or talk. Even he couldn't breathe on his own. And here he is in the hospital just a few days later. And he had so much to live for and to battle up against. And he says, I did have some time of feeling angry and depressed and sad and resentful. But he said, I had so much to live for, that I was going to fight with this, and I was going to make it work, and I was going to do whatever I could to get my strength back and my life back. And he, in his seated position of life, he and his wife came up with the idea, the saying that we believe. We believe that something better can happen. We believe that we can transform this. And just a year later, after that ski run, Nathan became ill, and he was taken to the hospital, and they didn't know what was wrong with him. And as they were x-raying him, he fell off the gurney and broke his neck a second time with even greater neurological damage. Nathan had many reasons to think that life is happening to him and not for him. Do you ever feel discouraged? Have you ever felt that, why me? After all the way I live my life, why did difficult, challenging things happen to me? Do you ever feel like the events, the struggles in your life are huge and they're not for you? And you would do anything to get out of that position. Well, if you answered yes, or if you ever felt like sometimes you're in a situation and you're wondering, why is this happening to me again? Then you're in the right place today. So we know that happiness arises from within and is not dependent on external events, right? Researchers believe that only 10% of the things that happen out here actually affect us. Most of the things that happen to us, or the way that we become sad and angry, is because of the way we face them, and that we don't face them head on. We look for excuses. We look to blame something outside of ourselves for what we're experiencing. You know, dung is often dropped on our porch in the middle of what could seem like a good day, when all of a sudden something happens, and here it is. And we get to choose, how are we going to deal with this? You know, the victim says, oh, this is not about me. It's something that somebody else did to me, or the universe is just angry with me and caused this to happen. But if we can get into that place where we're connected to the allness that we are, where we can connect to our higher self, we can know that we, even in what seems like the worst possible scenario, can rise up and change our perspective, change our thinking to be able to be present with what is. I love because we are the masters of our minds. I love what Byron Katie says. She says, life is simple. Everything happens for you, not to you. A lot of us may not have believed that a few years ago, or maybe we still are challenged with it. Then she goes on to say, everything happens at exactly the right moment, neither too soon nor too late. You don't have to like it, she says, but it's just a lot easier if you do. You know, I know, and maybe it's true for you too, when I make a conscious decision to choose to see the challenging situation that I might be in a different light, and see that it's for me, see that there's something that I can learn from this if I pay attention, if I kind of get into it and look at the root of it and see what is it that I can do about this to change the way that I'm thinking. The challenges we have and the blessings we receive are the same thing. I bet if you look back at your life, you'll see that the most satisfaction that you've ever received in your life from any experience happened because you faced something difficult. True? You know, it's like when we get through something and we go, wow, you know, I was able to make it through that, and we can go, yes. And I like to think that that's sort of fetter or encouragement to remind us when we're in a difficult situation to look for ways to change the way we think about it. In September of 2017, Nathan Ogden's wheelchair was stolen while he was at a Boise State football game. He went out, and his wheelchair that he used to transport himself was gone. But Ogden said, I got a taste of what it feels like to be quadriplegic, to be handicapped, and to not have my wheelchair. And so he says that he and his wife decided they wanted to make a difference. And they wanted to come up with a nonprofit that would help people and provide wheelchairs for people that didn't have one. And so here's some pictures of Ogden in the center, and on both sides, some children that he got wheelchairs for. He says, it wasn't until my wheelchair was stolen 4 years ago that we truly decided that we have to do something about it. It was actually my wife's idea, he says, and it was for our family to do something big to help other people. And it's something that we could make the world a better place and turn the difficulties that we had into a blessing for someone else. So what do we do when we have challenges? Well, this guy up here says sometimes we have to dig in the dung. As disgusting of an idea as it is, it means that we have to get down and carry this dung around, which doesn't necessarily have a great fragrance, right? Which isn't exactly easy, but we get to look at what can we do differently in our lives to change this around, to find a blessing in the midst of the challenge. I like what Gabrielle Bernstein said in her book. This is an amazing book that I'm reading this right now. It's titled, "The Universe Has Your Back, Transform Fear into Faith." She says, in the midst of darkness, grab a flashlight. Wow. You know, the tendency might be just to stay in the dark, right? Not look at what's going on and try and figure out, what can I do from here? Yeah, I've got all this challenging thing happening to me. What can I do? What light can I put on it in order to see it differently? How can I change this challenging thing into a blessing? Sometimes we just have to dig in the dung, don't we? So how can we do that? The first thing we can do is to look at how the challenge triggers our emotions. All right, we know if something triggers us and we get angry about it, what is it telling us? What's the message? We're reacting to what? We're reacting to past pain. We're reacting to thoughts, right? We're reacting to the fact that this is giving us the opportunity to step into something else and make a change. And it's about being stuck, right? We hate to be stuck, especially if we're stuck in dung. But sometimes we refuse to move our feet when we're stuck. So to turn this scenario into a blessing, we get to look at, okay, what is it that I am resisting? What is the thought that's holding us back? Right? Because the truth of it is, nothing in the universe holds us back. Our thoughts are the biggest inhibitor and hold us back from being our true, Christed, fully empowered person. So, and our thoughts also reveal the level of our thinking, right? If we're stuck, if we're angry, it's because our thoughts aren't working, right? We are holding our thoughts captive, or our thoughts are holding us captive and keeping us from moving forward into a newer and brighter and more enlightened experience. So we want to be aware when our thoughts are holding us back, or when we're blocked, and the cue is, of course, if we're angry, if we're disappointed, if we're mad. It's a reflection that something up here isn't working quite right. So, Nathan Ogden, after his wheelchair was stolen, he and his wife got together, and it took them a few months to do this in meditation and prayer, to say, what can we do? How can we make a difference? How can we make someone else's life easier in the future? And they decided to make a difference by creating this nonprofit, and a nonprofit that's given wheelchairs to people all over the world. So the question is, what can you do with the dung in your life? Anybody got any dung? Nobody wants to admit it, people on Facebook. Nobody here wants to admit it, but at some time, all of us have something in our life that stinks, right? That's holding us back, that's keeping us from being the fully empowered people that we are. There's a 100-year-old friend of ours who says when she's feeling down, and mind you, she's 100 years old, and she's the most active 100-year-old person that I know, and a number of us in this room might know who this is. But she says, when I feel down, I go in my kitchen and I bake, right? And I bake stuff for my neighbors, and I take that stuff to my neighbors. And she says, I've made friends with all of my neighbors because I baked them stuff when I wasn't feeling good, and they became my friends. And at the same time, I changed my attitude, right? I did something to serve somebody else. She also says that she puts on makeup every day because she says that it feels good, right, to have makeup on, to look at myself and to be pleased with who I am and the way I look. Another person that we know is recently going through a divorce, and she is an empty nester, right? Her kids just recently moved out, and so she was, alone with her husband, and they didn't get along, and they got a divorce. And she said that I didn't know what to do. I was lost. And so she went to an organization similar to Big Sisters, and she started to help somebody else and to be there and encourage that person to get her spirit back. And she says that in the process of helping her, it lifted me up. And isn't that so much the case? Sometimes breaking out of our shell and doing something for somebody else does what? It changes our thinking, right? It gets us out of this loop that we can be in of thinking, woe is me, why is life happening to me? And this is so much about how we get out of that rut is by doing something for somebody else. How can I change this situation? Another thing that we can do, probably not new to you, is to pray and to meditate, right? To pray means to open ourselves up to the universe. And I like this prayer to say, thank you, universe, for helping me see this obstacle as an opportunity to see differently. And, I love this prayer because there's some power in beginning a prayer by saying, thank you, God, or thank you, universe, or thank you, spirit, whatever works for you. Because when we do say thank you, what does it do? It opens us up so we can receive, because we're looking for a solution to get out of the situation that we're in. So we say, thank you, God, for this revelation, for this new understanding, for this new power, this new ability that I have. And we open ourselves up to the presence of God that's within us, our access to divine wisdom and knowledge. And it also opens up to the universe for us to be able to receive exactly what we need in that moment to have a transformation. And what I think that Nathan and his wife did was they were in the void. They were in meditation. They were in contemplation. It's so powerful to pray and affirm, okay, God, what is it that I must know? Okay, Spirit, what can I do in this situation? And then to sit in the silence and listen. Because in here, we all, as spiritual beings having a physical experience, have access to divine knowledge if we just listen. But often our tendency is to, I got to get out and fix it. I got to do something about this. I got to make something happen, right? I got to come up with my own ideas instead of just, what do I need to know? What can I do? How can I be differently? How can I be present to what is? So just take a breath with me and just feel that. You have that access to that knowledge because you are an amazing spiritual being. That is the essence of who you are. You have that ability. When we have a challenging situation, there is a solution in the same sentence. It's right there. May not be easy, but we know, you know, if you listen, what it is that the higher beingness, that is the truth of who you are, desires for you. Thank you, universe, for helping me see this obstacle, this challenge, this situation as an opportunity. It's really an opportunity to go a little deeper, to listen a little bit more, to be present, to let that essence, that truth of who you are, experience life in the fullest and most beautiful possible way. How can I turn this challenging situation into a blessing? This is probably the hardest part. We have to be willing to change. Damn, I hate that. Right? I don't want to change. Right? Anybody want to change? Change is not easy, is it? Doing something that's sort of out of the box is difficult, right? Because our brains get locked into, the neural pathways in our brains get locked into a certain way of doing things. And, you know, it's like we just create all these great habits of doing things the same way and expecting something to change, which is the definition of insanity. Right? If things aren't working, it's time to change. Take a breath. There's something exciting about that and something as scary as hell, right? Interesting, scary as hell, because hell isn't a place, but it's a state of consciousness that we get to overcome that oftentimes isn't easy to do. But it's what we're here to do and to transform. Share the Hope is helping people in other countries as well as people in the United States. Nathan says, we do a lot of projects, from getting families vehicles to helping transform their backyards so that people can get out into their backyards to be with their family and to be able to be with their friends and to live the way they want to live. He says, we don't want them to be stuck indoors and feel like they can't accomplish anything. So what can we do? We can use the dung to fertilize our garden. How about that? And of course, literally and physically and spiritually. Means to take this opportunity, as wonderful and as fragrant as it is, and look at what can we do differently to fertilize our lives, to fertilize our garden. You know, when a truckload of dung is dropped in our yards, we can take a deep breath. Oh, we might want to turn the other way and take a deep breath. Right? And then come back, maybe do like this guy's doing and put on a mask, right? Get out the shovel and the hoe and everything else and start to dig through it to see what is in there. Why has this shown up? There's going to be a clue there. So, you know, and when we do that, a miracle happens in another part of the garden of our consciousness. When we use that dung to fertilize our garden, because flowers are going to grow all around our house when we change our thinking. Digging in the dung is a metaphor for welcoming challenges as fertilizer for life. Instead of going, oh, darn, why is this dung happening again? What if we could just go, what can I use this dung for? You know, we're really looking at digging in the garden of our heart to find what it is. How can we make a difference in the world? How can we make a difference in our lives? How can we be in a different way that brings fertilizer to the world? And it's not by putting it in your pockets or somebody else's. Another thing we can do is just go with the ebb and flow of life. Have you noticed that things come, things go, troubles come, troubles leave? And if we could just say, you know what, this is just the way life is. Doesn't mean that anything's bad, nothing's happening to us. It just is the way that life is. Nobody said that being spiritual beings in these physical bodies is going to be easy. But what we can do is change the way that we spread the dung around. So perhaps the moral of the story is that if you want to be of service to the world, if you want to be of service in your life, if you wish to follow the path of compassion, the next time someone leaves dung on your doorstep, say, whoopee, more fertilizer for my garden. Because everything happens for you, not to you. Everything happens for me, and I am at peace. Let's say that together. Everything happens for me, and I am at peace. I invite you to close your eyes. And know that the presence and power of love is enlivened and strengthened in you. Notice and remember that the presence of God is who you are. That you are, as Jesus said, the light of the world. You are the light of the world. And that light that is within you has the power to transform any challenge, any perceived weakness or doubt. So I invite you just to breathe in to this center of your being, to say, thank you, loving Spirit. I am so grateful that I am a being of light. And I breathe into that light, remembering who I am. All of the great teachers and sages and the Buddha reminded us of this inner light, this essence of truth. They all teach empowerment, enlightenment. And imagine that you can connect this knowingness, this mind of yours with your heart. And to let your thoughts reside in the light of your center. And breathing in, breathing out. And to relax into the remembrance of who you are. The light of the world. And imagine that that light is growing, that it's magnifying, that it's transforming anything that's not like itself into the light of itself. To be the presence of love. To be the essence of joy. To be the calmness of peace. And to trust your higher self, to trust the universe. To know that everything is happening for you. And to see yourself rising up in the midst of this light, to embrace your fullness. And hold this thought for just a few moments as we join together for a short time in the silence. Breathing in and breathing out. Slowly allowing your awareness to return to this moment. Holding on to this light. Holding on to and remembering all that you are. And to bring this light, this awareness, and this truth into this moment. And this is happening right now, today. And in case you forgot, someone just got that message. I invite you to open your eyes when you're ready. Thank you. All right, so I invite you to prepare your love offerings and your tithes and your gifts to Unity on Maui. And as you prepare them to think about your life, to think about the transformations that are happening in your life, to think about what it is that this message today or this ministry brings to you. It's our hope that we offer you transformative messages, not just to entertain you, even though I hope that they do sometimes, and I hate to resort to poop stories to make you laugh, but sometimes we dig a little deeper. Oh, I'm still the 14-year-old that I was when I was 14. I have to admit it. So I invite you to taking this into consideration as you give to us today, to know that your gifts help us to do what we do, and to be able to maintain this beautiful property and to be able to pay our staff and all that. So thank you for your generosity. And thank you for being here and contributing your consciousness to all that we do. So and for you out there in Facebook land, you can contribute to us also by going to Unity on Maui's website, and you can leave a safe donation there. Thank you in advance. So as we hold our gifts, giving thanks for them, feeling them blessing the blessings that they offer, feeling the energy of that which we give. Let's pray and affirm our prayer and affirmative statement of prosperity. And let's say it together. Through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you, loving Spirit, for these gifts that have come to us in love. We hold them, we bless them, we give thanks for them, knowing that they are the energy of love is moving through this community, through this congregation, through this amazing, beautiful island of Maui. And we behold our love moving out into the universe, surrounding this beautiful planet on which we live with love and light. And we behold all people, young and old, in this love. And we see them embracing the truth, feeling loved. And we behold a world that's filled with love, with light, with joy, and with peace. And so it is. Thank you. All right, we've got just a couple announcements today. Let's see.
Can I start?
Yes, why don't you start?
Singers after church today. So if you would like to sing in our Easter Joy Singer group, we're going to meet right here, right?
Yes,
right here, and
right
we're going to just really have a good time. So, and anybody's welcome.
Yes, and if you were here for Christmas Eve, we had our Joy Singers sing then, and everybody just had a blast.
Yeah.
So if you've ever wondered if you can sing, or you would like to sing, or you'd like to feel that joy, come and join Robin today. You will have a blast,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not, right?
Blaine,
Yes.
could I make a singing announcement as well?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Al and Virgie and myself and Bonnie, we sing with the Maui Choral Group, and we are going to be performing on the 21st of April, and it's right around Earth Day, and it's all focused on peace. All about peace.
April 23rd.
23rd, excuse me, 2 o'clock at St. Anthony's Church.
Oh, good.
And there is a flyer that we put on the table back here. Please come and buy your tickets. It's so beautiful music. We spent 4 hours yesterday,
Wow.
and it's, when it comes together, it's just so gorgeous.
Ah,
It's going to be great. Thank you, Ariel.
Thank you.
Yes. And by the way, we have flowers up here offered by Marlene today because we're celebrating Marlene's birthday and her mother's birthday and your mother's sister's birthday are all in March, right? Wow, that's amazing. Say that again?
That was half my family when I was growing up. We all in March.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Marlene, for sharing that with us. All right, and you can contribute flowers on Sunday morning. There's a sign-up sheet on the back table. And if you put your name down and how you'd like the flowers donated, we'll mention them on Sunday morning. Phyllis, I see your hand.
Today is Rick's birthday.
Hey,
happy
Rick!
birthday.
And Rick, you're 39 today, right? Give or take a day or two, right? Thank you for being here on your birthday. It's nice to see you. And let's see. Next is Mike Fleenor has been offering us a lot of social activities. Here's a picture of him beside a waterfall. A couple folks went on that hike and didn't come back, so we suppose they enjoyed it so much. So it's a lot of fun. And the next thing that's happening is Carrie Sawyer is going to do a sound bath meditation on Saturday, April 1st, and that is no joke, from 4 to 5:30 right here. And she suggests you bring a towel or a yoga mat, and it's a really relaxing, marvelous experience. Somebody described it to me like getting a good massage.
You should know you don't have to lie down. There's several of us who just sit in the chair.
Oh, that's good. Okay, it was brought to my attention that you can sit in a chair and do this as well and receive it. Thank you. And there is a hike, the Coastal Land Trust hike that Mike is leading on April 22nd, and his phone number is up here if you'd like to participate in that. And next Sunday is Palm Sunday already. Can you believe it? And my talk is titled, Your Journey to Spiritual Mastery. And we'll look at the components in Jesus' walk into Jerusalem. As you know, that was the week before he was crucified. And the symbolism in his walk into Jerusalem parallels our own transformation into spiritual mastery. And so we'll talk about, what's involved in that and how can we achieve that. And you will be a master of some sort when you leave here next Sunday. And of course, then you'll be ready for Easter, which is the following Sunday, which we're doing right here again. And we're only going to do one service at 10 o'clock on Easter Sunday. And then we will have our van working to transport people back and forth to the county building because we assume that our parking lot's going to be full. So that'll be a lot of fun. So put those things on your calendar. And if you enjoyed the talk today, my notes I put together in something I call Walk Your Talk. And it's on the back table. And I think it's on green paper today. Is that right? Just so you know. And if you want to put the things that we talked about into practice, that would be great.
And if you weren't here for the past couple of Sundays, there's still copies of the Walk Your Talk.
Thank you. Yeah, and there are copies of old last couple weeks back there as well if you weren't able to get here on those days. All right then. Well, I think that is just about it. Got anything else?
Oh, let's do it.
You don't have another song for us?
Well, peace song.
Okay, we'll do the peace song in a minute. All right, why don't you all stand and let's say the prayer for protection together, and then we'll sing the peace song. So let's say it together. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is. Thank you for being here today. I love you. It's great to have you here. Bless you out in Facebook land.
Where I live, they're all raised.